Traveler, Paimon. I suppose your story is ready.
Yep. How about you? Do you need some more time?
No need. I am also ready to tell my story.
Paimon calls dibs. Paimon first!
Please, go ahead.
Okay, here goes. Once upon a time, there was an evil researcher who went into the mountains and did a crazy experiment on whopper flowers to transform their appearance. After a lot of pain and suffering, the whopper flowers finally took on a human form. Then they stood by the side of the mountain to wait for unsuspecting bypassers. To whoever spoke to them, they would ask them questions such as, "Who am I? Who are you?" If the bypasser got the wrong answer, the last sound they'd make would be a yelp before the whopper flower ate them alive in one bite.
Ooh, truly frightening.
What the? You two aren't scared at all! Don't go nitpicking, okay? If you didn't like the story, go write your own!
In other words, the whopper flowers would ambush and then completely replace their victims.
And then what? Go back to where the person lives? Enter their home? Eat their whole family? Paimon made up this story, but now Paimon's the one who's scared by it.
It's a good story. Oh, may I write it down? I may bring it up in future conversations.
What for? Just to scare people with?
Yes.
You've got a real mean streak, Albedo.
Mine is a little longer than yours. It starts with an alchemist. A great alchemist once created Subject 1. Subject 1 was her proudest achievement, and successfully blended into human society. No one ever would have thought that this friend of theirs was in fact a synthetic human. However, unbeknownst to Subject 1, the alchemist had tried the same experiment many times before he had come into being. Some of the rejects from failed experiments had been discarded, but had not died. Subject 2 was one such failed experiment. He was swallowed by a great dragon that came to rest upon a snow-swept mountain. Many years later, he was resurrected by the dragon's mysterious power. He saw all kinds of people on the mountain, including Subject 1, who had somehow miraculously blended in among them. Never in Subject 2's wildest imagination had he thought it possible for experimental life forms such as they to deceive everyone so successfully. He saw the way humans accepted Subject 1 as a friend, witnessed their affection as they addressed him by name. This was what Subject 2 wanted. Now, all that Subject 2 desired was to replace Subject 1 and take the joy of his existence for himself.
This is giving Paimon the chills. So scary.
Subject 2 began to unfold his plan. He stole Subject 1's books and notes and studied all that Subject 1 had learned from the alchemist. Subject 2 was highly intelligent, and he learned quickly. He changed his face into an exact replica of Subject 1's face. Then, he found a plant with mimicry capabilities and transformed it using dragon blood and alchemy. And so, not only did Subject 2 transform his own appearance to perfectly match that of Subject 1, he also created a third entity, Subject 3.
What? There's 3 of them now?
But Subject 2 wanted to become a perfected human. So, he erased a mark on both his and Subject 3's necks. For these marks were symbols of imperfection. In my view, it was probably a subconscious act, an instinct. He so desperately craved to become a perfect human being that he forgot something. Human beings are defined by their flaws. Subject 2's plan was meticulously crafted. Subject 3 would draw Subject 1's attention. After Subject 1 disposed of Subject 3, he would assume the threat had now disappeared and would let his guard down. The next moment that Subject 1 was alone, Subject 2 would make his move. He would eliminate Subject 1 and become the only one remaining. He would secretly replace the Subject 1 of everyone's memories and inherit his identity, residence, clothing, sword, name, and friends. People would have no idea that the individual they knew had become somebody else from one day to the next.
This is way too scary. Paimon's never gonna be able to trust anyone again.
But just before Subject 2 could carry out his plan, a unique stranger entered the mix. Subject 2 tried to make contact with this person, but found that they could somehow sense he was different from Subject 1. What's wrong? Are you scared?
What happened then? What happened to the stranger?
He became a new stage in Subject 2's plan. One more person that Subject 2 had to dispose of. It's as if there were 3 identical roses in a garden. Only one of the 3 was a fine specimen, while the other 2 were defective specimens that bore poisonous thorns. In all the world, only the gardener who tended to them could tell which was the good specimen. People do not like poisonous plants. Only a perfect rose can fetch a high price. If the inferior specimens wanted to conceal the fact of their worthlessness, they would have to take the gardener out of the picture, using their poisonous thorns. This is exactly what Subject 2 was thinking. So, he hid in the shadows and waited patiently. Maybe soon, he would get his chance to become truly human.
That was intense! So what happened after that? Did Subject 2's plan succeed? Paimon can't bear thinking about it!
Fortunately, it is just a story. And even in this story, Subject 2 did not succeed. But you can never let your guard down on Dragonspine. Monsters mutated with Durin's power and blood are also creatures of Rhine-Daughter, just like me. You must beware of all such creatures. I'm glad to hear that. It's okay. I know what I am. You and I are both different, so there is no need for me to hide the truth from you. The only thing is that sometimes, when I think about how mighty the power of alchemy is, I feel so small. As beings who set foot in this world, how arrogant are we in desiring to control our destiny and in desiring to create? Is creation an arrogant act, traveler? If not, why do we call the ones that created us and control us gods? If it is, then what qualifies us to call ourselves creators? How far must we take our reverence and respect, and what purpose does it serve? Nothing special, but whenever I think about it, I feel a twinge of grief.
Poor Albedo.
Hello? Traveler, are you here?
Hey, is that Amber?
Thought we might find you here. We're here to deliver a message from Cyrus. There's gonna be a big event down at the base camp, and they want you there too, Traveler.
Winter camp is nearing its end. Apparently, even provisional instructors are required to attend.
Looks like we need to go, Albedo. Bye for now.
Then I won't keep you. I have some things to attend to here, so forgive me for not seeing you down.
Don't worry about it. There have been no issues getting up and down the mountain recently.
Is everyone ready? Let's not keep them waiting.
In any kind of storytelling, you don't have a character tell a tale like that and then it have no significance in the scenes that follow soon after. Pay attention to anyone if they mention blood.
Huh? Who is this guy?
Allow me to introduce Yozerf. He's Joel's father.
Dad, this is that traveler I was telling you about. The traveler's helped me out loads in the past, and this time we even built a snowman together.
Joel has told me everything about you. I can't thank you enough.
Wow, this is amazing! Wait a second. Why is Cyrus discreetly wiping tears away? And what is Pally doing here?
Pallid is the hero of the hour this time. Go on, Pallid. Tell us what happened in your own words.
Okay. The weather was fine on that fateful day, and I had a feeling that Lady Luck was smiling down on me. So I trusted my gut and set off to explore somewhere new, somewhere dangerous. Because where there is great danger, there is also great treasure.
Why does this sound so hard to believe?
But I had only been away from the group for a short while when I fell down a slope and just started rolling.
Uh-oh.
Did my bad luck rub off on him when we ran into each other on the mountain?
The place I fell to was somewhere I didn't recognize, and I'd sustained a few injuries. I remember thinking to myself, this is the worst luck I've ever had in my whole life. Then I met Yoserv. He'd heard the sound of me falling and came out to see what was going on.
Huh?
Wow! So it was completely by chance then!
I thought he must have been someone from the Adventurers Guild here for the event, but after a few words of conversation, it was clear that he was having memory problems. He didn't even know his own name. The temperature was freezing, and there was no time to deal with all that there and then, so I convinced him to come back to the camp with me and figure everything else out after we got there. We got back to the camp, ran into Joel, and the moment he saw him, he froze for a second with this completely stunned expression on his face, and then he started crying out, "Dad! Dad!" That's when Yoserv suddenly started to remember.
My memory has still not fully recovered, but Joel and his mother, they are the only ones that I will not, no, that I cannot forget.
Daddy.
Daddy's right here, Joel. Daddy's right here.
Yoserv, don't you remember anything else at all? The poor princess? Feeding the foxes?
I'm sorry. I have no recollection. Maybe it's because of the head trauma. I'm not sure. I woke up and found myself covered in blood.
Aha!
Things were gone, and there was nothing to indicate who I was or how I got there. I crawled into a cave and settled in for a slow recovery. After my legs and feet were a little better, my hunting skills were what kept me alive.
Dad, I was so worried about you.
I'm all right now, Joel. Oh, don't cry. Daddy's not going anywhere. I'm here to stay.
Oh, this is good. This is good.
You know what, though? I definitely think my luck got worse after running into Benin on that mountain.
I knew it. I just...
No. I just meant if it weren't for you, there's no way I ever would have run into Yoserv on a mountain this huge. Besides, we got back safely, didn't we? So don't blame yourself. Maybe sometimes miracles can only happen when you get just unlucky enough.
Pallid. When did you become such a smooth talker, huh?
Huh? Am I? I was just telling the truth.
Oh, yeah. I want to say thank you to the Traveler, Uncle Cyrus, Auntie Eula, and Auntie Amber. Thanks, everyone. You all helped look after me, and I will always remember it. But I guess I can't take the snowman with me, or it'll melt once it leaves Dragonspine. It's such a shame.
Oh, I can help with that. One moment.
Huh? Eula?
Here, take this. It's powdered rime. Just add it to your snowman, and it will never melt.
Wow! Really? Oh, this is awesome! You're the best, Auntie Eula! Dad, I have an unmeltable snowman now! How cool is that?
How can I ever repay you all? Thank you all. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Dad, I want to go move the snowman. Can we do it now, please?
Okay. I'll be leaving with Joel now. I'm sure I'll see you all another day.
Very well, very well. It's time for Pallid and I to have another discussion concerning his breaches of adventurer discipline.
Huh? But Cyrus, I think I kind of made up for my mistakes this time, you know?
See you guys!
Oh, I made this for you and Amber. Think of it as a winter souvenir.
Aw, are you sure? This must be really important to you.
Come on now, just take it. No need to make such a fuss.
Wow! Now our snowman won't melt either! Great!
You're welcome. Just keep it. That's all I ask. Amber and I have some business to attend to now. See you later.
See you! Everyone's gone. Seems like they've all got their own stuff to do now. Oh! You know what? We've been on Dragonspine all this time, and somehow Paimon still forgot to ask Albedo about how to make a fruit juicifier machine that could keep the juice fresh. Maybe we should try Timaeus again. He does seem pretty eager to please after all. Timaeus!
Traveler and Paimon, what can I do for you? Wait a minute. You've got that mischievous look on your face. Oh, you're not still thinking about that ridiculous juicer thing, are you?
Timaeus, will you help us?
Well, if the Traveler isn't really interested, then, yeah, maybe I'll give this one a pass. It's just the weirdest request ever.
No, but Paimon's Sunsettias are gonna go to waste without it.
And the time it would take me to research something like that, I could probably pick those Sunsettias again 10 times over.
New research project, Timaeus? We meet again.
Oh, Albedo, thank goodness. So the situation is, Paimon wants a machine that can turn fruit into juice and keep the juice fresh. I mean, surely it's...
Majorly important, that's what it is. If you can manage to invent this, we'll never have to worry about fruit going bad ever again.
That's impossible.
Turning fruit into juice is not hard, but keeping it fresh is more difficult. But if you simply want to keep the fruit from rotting, there are many ways to achieve this. Right, Traveler?
What about his neck?
What's wrong? Is there something on my neck? From the look on your face, it's as if you thought I just played a practical joke on you that was in exceedingly poor taste.
Albedo, you were saying, how do you stop fruit from going bad?
Well, one way would be to bury your fruit on Dragonspine, where the snow never melts all year round.
But then Paimon won't be able to eat them!
You could always live on Dragonspine.
No, too cold for Paimon.
Or you can give the fruit to me, and I would take it to Dragonspine for you. But since you don't like the cold, you'd have to send someone else to pick them up when you want them. This is where you come in, Traveler.
Suddenly sounds a lot more feasible with other people doing all the work. Okay then, shall we go with that idea?
Fruit buried on Dragonspine will stay fresh for much longer. However, it is also possible that the fruit will sprout and grow into fruit trees. Who knows? Maybe the next time you visit, it will have grown into an orchard. You can water the trees, add fertilizer, and when they finally bear fruit, you will have some fresh Sunsettias.
No way! Then Paimon will have to be a gardener! That's not the goal here.
Oh? Well, I don't think being a gardener is so bad.
Wait, what? Did he say there's not bad about what was that whole thing about you shouldn't be the gardener because it's like all that god talking that we had on the map? What? Albedo?
Get your hands on Paimon's super sweet Sunsettias!
It bothers you, does it?
Of course it bothers Paimon! They are the rarest, super duper sweetest Sunsettias ever! And they're not for you!
Okay, but they're just Sunsettias. I think you're only so attached to them because you don't have much fruit of this quality in your possession. When someone's pockets are full and their spirit is fulfilled, they don't easily fall prey to this kind of yearning.
Really?
Welcome. How can I help you?
Dragonspine is too cold for ordinary fruit trees to survive. But if, one day, Dragonspine did become home to gardens and orchards, there would be more reasons for people to visit. Perhaps a little life is the key to attracting people. Life may exist in all kinds of unfathomable forms, and in all manner of unthinkable environments. Mysterious, yet tenacious. Perhaps this is what makes life so special.
Well, okay, I've spent some time thinking, I've made a couple notes, and I've tried to piece together exactly what this third act of this story was trying to suggest. And I've come up with 4 different theories. The first one is that Yosef here, or Yosef, is subject 2. My reasoning for this potential is it's been heavily implied, first of all, that Joel's father has been gone for an extremely long time and so be presumed dead. Secondly, is to mention that when he woke up, Yosef woke up, he woke up with blood on him. And we were just learning about creatures born of Durin's blood are strange indeed. And they can make these exaggerated shape-shifting like creatures. So it's mimicking Joel's father isn't out of the stretch. Maybe Joel's father was up there somewhere and like maybe his body happened to be nearby or something. Like that is a possibility. That does make enough sense. And it ties into the end scene of Act 2 where Albedo is seen going off to face presumably Subject 2 because what we killed was Subject 3, the Whooper Flower. But maybe he reasoned with Subject 2 instead of killing it and convinced it to find another way, and or maybe it was thrown down the mountain by being defeated by Albedo and so shapeshifted into the next thing, which became Yosef. That's theory 1. Theory 2 involves that weird scene at the end of Mondstadt where we bump into Albedo and he suddenly says being a gardener's not so bad. That was weird. That was deliberately weird, and they made sure to squeeze that line in to make you doubt everything. There's a chance that that's Subject 2, and in a similar manner, Albedo allowed it to exist, to experience humanity to an extent by letting it roam Mondstadt, and that star on its neck, the birthmark on its neck vanishing briefly, was it correcting the last irregularity so it could completely blend in as Albedo. Because I don't think Albedo... I know Albedo's like an alchemist genius, but something about him just making it vanish seems odd to me. Because the way he describes it is like a signature mark, like a birthmark on his neck. That, to me, the way he's explained it doesn't seem like something that can just go, you know? But, I don't know, like that one could easily just be Albedo messing with us. But that's the point, they want you to go, Theory 3 is that both Theory 1 and 2 are correct at the same time. And the only reason this would work is if another subject had been made. And Subject 3 wasn't actually the Whooper Flower. Subject 3 was either Yosef or the Albedo that we bumped into in Mondstadt. And the Whooper Flower was just an extension of something else based off Albedo's story that we associate in that sense. And Theory 4 is that neither are true. Joel's father genuinely was miraculously found by Pallid, and the Albedo we met in Mondstadt was genuinely just pulling a prank on us. And unfortunately, all 4 are highly likely, but the 4th one's the least interesting, and it's always, if you work in any kind of field of science, it's the one explanation you always have to include, the whole none is true, none is work kind of approach, and so I think that one's the least likely. I feel like they wouldn't have set this up for it to mean nothing, and it just play on our suspicions. I think they did it deliberately to make one of those first 3 things be true. Personally, I think 1 or 3 are more likely than 2. Theory 1 being Yosef being Subject 2, and Theory 3 being both Yosef and Albedo are strange. I think no matter what, Yosef is strange. I think his existence is strange. I think his father's genuinely either still missing or dead. And this is someone who's just slotted into that role to replace him because the real Yosef is well dead, so the kid doesn't go without a father, and Subject 2 gets the ability to actually blend in with humanity in the same way Albedo's gotten to.
This was what
And the only reason I'm
Subject 2
reading to
wanted.
entertain 3 is just because of how strange that end scene
All
was.
Subject 2
However,
desired
that
was to
strange
replace
scene on
Subject
its
1
own,
and
I'm
take the
not
joy of his
entirely
existence
convinced is
for
completely
himself.
off, which is why I'm slightly less convinced on it just being Theory 2, where it's just the albedo and Mondstadt's weird. I feel like there is more there. I think that little bit where they show the Traveler, or Lumine in my case, remembering like when we first encountered them back in Act 1 and they strangely walked away, I think that might have been Subject 2. I think that would have been like the first tease at being Subject 2, because Sucrose and Timaeus already mentioned that it seemed kind of odd the way Albedo was acting. So maybe that was Subject 2, whilst the one now maybe isn't, but at the same time, that thread was never 100% directly addressed as to whether the one in Mondstadt was Albedo or Subject 2. So that could be Subject 2, giving more credence to Theory 2.
Subject 3.
But that's kind of as far as my brain's willing to go on it. It's very fascinating, and I really like this event's mystery. Like, I mentioned at the end of Act 2 that, like, this event is really high up on the list, even though it's not my favourite. And I was saying that fully aware that Act 3 wasn't out yet, but that was because I was expecting Act 3 to kind of be like the same as a lot of final acts and a lot of other events, where it's more like a 6 to 7 minute conclusion and wrap up, and certainly not a lot of tools to a bigger mystery that's left for you to figure out. I don't know if there's an Act 4 to come. I kind of doubt it, because I feel like if they added an Act 4, they'd end up kind of losing some of the mystery they're setting up here. So I'm going to assume that this is the final act of the story, and I suppose we'll find out in a couple of days if I'm right or not. But this is an interesting one. This is definitely a more fascinating one, and I think it's the most thought-provoking event in the game, next to the Unreconciled Stars event, which announced that the sky is fake at the end of it. But that one was more of just a blunt in-your-face, what the hell is this? Whilst this is entirely about making you doubt everything and place doubt in the Mondstatters. Because there's already a lot of Mondstadtian history that seems kind of suspicious, like Alice's power, like its connection to Celestia, like having Carnarian people in it. Like, it's a lot of already small oddities with Mondstadt that makes it slightly, like, questionable in its trust. And I feel like this entire event was about making that more forefront, to make you have doubts. I stand by the fact that I find it weird that Rosaria was not in this event, considering she was the very first person to cast doubt on Albedo. I feel like she would have been perfect for this event, but that's all I can really say on it. I just think this is one of those, we'll see where it goes. In the same vein with a lot of plot threads, I'm very curious to see where this goes, and see when we next gets touched upon. I hope not next Christmas. I hope it's not just an annual Christmas Albedo visit like it has been this year and last year. I hope it is actually something that gets touched upon in more of a proper plot thread. Like maybe an Archon quest where we come back to Mondstadt for some reason, then after solving it, end up talking to Lisa, and Lisa being a Sumeru scholar that gives us our ticket to Sumeru later on. Like, that would be a cool way of tying back into this Albedo thread, because I want to know what the fuck's going on. But anyway, thank you so much for watching as per usual, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Using their poisonous thorns.